Okay, thanks. Okay, we're going to have some testimony about the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School, and I'd ask Kathy Clancy to please come and address the board. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School. I'm a parent of a first grader in the Gloucester Public Schools. I serve on the school committee, and I'm also the chair of the Building and Finance Subcommittee. The reason I'm here is very simple. It's the same story, different day. I urge you to consider the content and magnitude of the site visit report issued late last week. Despite the recommendation from Commissioner Chester that this school be given the opportunity to continue, I ask that you remember your role as independent board members that are responsible for the education of all Massachusetts children, and consider the significance of the action and performance of this school and its trustees since its approval. The school was approved 2 years and 3 months ago, yet the culture of its leadership remains the same, one of annoyance at public scrutiny and one of apathy and defiance of Department and Board of Ed requirements. In the site visit report, you will note that 4 substantial conditions out of 8 were not met by deadlines imposed by this board. They have not elevated the skills of their board. Something as straightforward as notification of staff changes has not been done, nor was it made public. Information requests from the charter school office made on April 8th go unfulfilled at least a month and a half after the requests, and it's not clear if they have yet been delivered. There are many alarming comments in this report regarding academic instruction and special education that should make you question if this school is truly serving its students. Furthermore, you should recall that the charter school stated last June that it had 95 students pre-enrolled, but 24 of those were listed as in process. These students never did complete the process and enroll even prior to the opening fiasco. This is a 75% enrollment rate, yet the Commissioner now expects you to believe that 100% of families interested will enroll to show that this school could be financially viable. Finally, in case you have not had a chance to read the full report, it concludes with the following. As indicated by the lack of responsiveness to the conditions and additional requests for documentation, it appears that the school is lacking effective leadership on both the administrative and board level in addressing some of the ongoing organizational and fiscal challenges that face the school. I ask you to consider whether any fundamental or cultural change has occurred that gives you confidence in this school's ability to perform better than in the past and up to your expectations. From the statements in the site report and our community's observation, the answer is no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and for being here. Val Gilman, who's the chair of the Gloucester School Committee. Welcome, Val.
Good morning. Education Secretary Revel, Commissioner Chester, Chairperson Banter, Vice Chair Charno, and board members. I'd like to thank the Charter School Office for your detailed and accurate first-year site visit report of the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School. In my opinion, your findings are spot on and summarize all that I've heard from parents who have returned their children to the Gloucester Public School District, as well as my own observations, having watched meetings in person and via video. On May 2nd, 16 new charter schools were approved, all located in large cities: Boston, New Bedford, Lawrence, Springfield. Gloucester's charter school is located in a city with less than 30,000 people. If this school submitted an application today, it would be classified as a regional school with a financial burden shared by many districts. The financial burden is already felt in our city as we are all fighting for our share of revenue. Our city will lose $585,000 in fiscal 12 in Chapter 70 revenue. In fiscal 13, this Chapter 70 loss could climb as high as $1.7 million based on possible maximum enrollment. For 2012, our school committee has cut $1.5 million, 41 positions, and our mayor is requiring $650,000 more in cuts to leave our budget at $350,000 below level funding. This board does not impose charter funding reform. I know that. You know that. However, we look to this board to uphold the highest level of accountability. While I remain concerned with the totality of the conditions and findings reported, there are two issues that leave me with the most consternation. First, by February 2nd, the school shall have submitted a plan to address deficiencies in special ed programs, and by April 1st, demonstrated substantial progress in the corrective action plan. I refer you to a joint letter that you received yesterday from our new superintendent, Dr. Rich Sapphire, and our director of special education, Joanne Reese. The second issue of my concern is the inquiry found on page 5 of this report. Faithfulness to the terms of the charter. Charter schools are founded with the goal of offering something unique that public school districts are not able to fulfill. In this case, the mission and unique offering was that of arts integration, thus the name Gloucester Community Arts Charter School. When the Charter School Office made their determination in February of 2009 not to recommend, one of the reasons not to recommend was cited as faithfulness to the proposed mission described in the charter application. As an elected official that oversees 7 schools, 3,200 students, and a $34 million budget, I am incensed that a publicly funded school whose only acclaimed difference with arts integration has done little or nothing to support this mission. The exact words from this office: at the time of this visit, CSO staff learned that the school had terminated the school's arts integration specialist, who also served as the art teacher. Central to the school's mission is the use of art to foster learning. Currently, a part-time art teacher provides classes on Monday, and a volunteer teaches art on Friday. On the day of the visit, the volunteer only spent a half day at the school, and afternoon art classes were monitored by the special ed coordinator. Teachers noted that the loss of arts integration specialists had made it difficult, in fact, to integrate arts to the degree that they would have liked. When board members and founders Amy Ballin and Karen Archipel resign in the upcoming months, only 2 remaining Gloucester residents will be left on the board: Dave Buchanan and Gordon Baird. Of the 2 new board members, only 1 additional board member lives in our community. For the new majority of Gloucester Community Arts School board members, I would envision that it is not that difficult for you to drive to Blackburn Circle 2 to 4 times a month, attend a board or subcommittee meeting, and then drive home to your community. By contrast, I face parents every day who ask me when and if their neighborhood school will be closed, and I witness closed fire stations because of the financial harm of this one charter school. Because of the irreparable harm that this school will have on this school district and city, I hope that this board will spend adequate time today deliberating and discussing each and every unmet condition, as well as the school's lack of faithfulness to the terms of this charter. This charter school, with a current enrollment of 85 students, has consistently failed to meet the majority of conditions required to warrant or deserve the use of public school funds. Our 3,200 students deserve more. The clock is ticking. I urge that this board revoke the charter for the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School, or minimally reinstitute a strict probation so that this board can continue to hold them accountable. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Val, for being here and for your comments. Joe Knowles from the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School Board of Trustees. Please come and address the board.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Joe Knowles. I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School. I am somewhat surprised, I think, at some of what I've just heard, but I'm also very sensitive to it. And I'm hoping very much to be able to do business with my friend Val Gilman and Kathy Clancy at some point. I thought we'd established some good relationships, but I think there's more work on my part to do. Let me start by saying that my understanding is that we have met all of the conditions that were placed on the school in mid-December. We did not meet all of them on time, that's to be sure, but we have met all of them. In fact, in certain instances, we feel we've gone beyond what was required of us. Let me draw your attention to the letter, the memo update of May 19th that went out to this group, to all of you, over the signature of Tony Blackman, our executive director. A couple of things I'd like to mention. One was, it is true we started with 65 students under, as everyone will remember, very trying circumstances. We weathered that storm and have been able, I believe, to assemble a leadership team at this point that can carry the school forward. Also, as conditions have changed, we've been able to change with them. So much of what Val has said is accurate, but in a certain context can be understood under the circumstances that we were operating under. Let me say right now that we have a pre-enrollment figure of 196 students for next year. Let me also say that 100% of the currently enrolled students will be returning in September. We're very proud of that. We also are, we take very seriously the trust that those families have placed in us, and we expect to meet those expectations as well. In large part by the leadership team that we've been able to assemble just over the last few weeks. It's been several months of work, to be sure, but over the last few weeks we've been able to, and are very excited about, the head of school that we've been able to bring aboard, Jody Zebarth, with a long and deep experience in special education and teacher training and development. She is perfectly suited to this school at this time and is very excited about the opportunity. One of the first things she did was ask that a program coordinator be brought aboard, Mary Schofield, who was a teacher in the Gloucester Public Schools for a number of years, and then Somerville. She would say that she is probably the most organized person that she knows. Her role is to amplify and expedite the activities of the head of school. They are now working even today, although neither one of them is on contract yet. That starts July 1. We went a step further. I am not inclined to become the chair of a board or two without knowing what I'm getting into. I've been with this project, this enterprise, for almost 2 years now. So as much as I'd like to stop now, let me just add one more thing, which is that we have launched, with funding found from the outside, a whole school review to be conducted by Jennifer Fellers. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything, as does the rest of the board. By the way, the majority of the board is from Gloucester or has a direct Gloucester tie, to be sure. Being from Manchester, I am sensitive to that notion. But I also know that as a citizen of the world, there are certain things that people from Manchester can do. And Manchester doesn't necessarily need me to do it for them. So I'm not sure if there's time for questions at this point or if my statement is done.
We don't typically get into questions, but you have about 10 more seconds because that was the 2.
I think that's fine. I see a very crowded agenda.
Okay.
And I think I've covered the high points. But to be sure, and certainly in our phone conversation, Commissioner Chester, I was trying to bring you up to speed on where we are with things, knowing that we would be late necessarily. It took the extra time. Next time we will not be late, by the way. We have high aspirations for this school, and we will meet them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments and for being with us today. And now, also from the Gloucester Community Arts Charter School, Gina Manley. Is Gina here? Oh, great. Gina, please join us.
Good morning, Commissioner, Madam Chair, member of the boards. Thank you for your time and support of the Gloucester Community Arts Charter. My name is Gina Manley. My son Kyle is enrolled in the 6th grade at the Gloucester Community Arts Charter. We were involved with from the beginning. He attended the classes at the Stagefort Park and went with the whole school to the Project Adventure. He loved it. But it was a hard summer. The stories in the press were often negative, and when the commissioner's letter came out saying to send your child back to the public schools, I felt I had to do it. We went back. It was a mistake. Before the end of the first semester, he was missing the excitement and creativity that he had at the charter. In November, It was clear the charter was open and thriving. Kyle made it clear it was where he wanted to be. I re-enrolled him. Today he is up at 6 a.m. Nothing will keep him home. At the end of the day, Kyle and his friends don't want to leave. How many of us as parents can say this, that when we go to the school to pick up our kids, they do not want to leave? Kyle is doing so well. He has great friends, boys, girls. He loves his teachers. They accept him for who he is, and they challenge him to do his best. When he was away, he missed them. He talked about missing Mr. Blackman in the conversations they had. Many of the students would say that about, how many students would say that about their principal? Kyle has learned so much in all of his subjects. Just last week, the Museum of Science was in the school doing experiments with liquid nitrogen. For several weeks before that, they built a scale model of a city in the ancient Mesopotamia. Kyle loved it. I am so proud of the school and all it has done. This is my choice. Kyle will be joined next year by his little brother Bradley, and I can't wait for him to start. His school day starts a little later than his brother Kyle, so he comes up many mornings and goes into Mr. Blackman's office to ask if he can join morning meeting, and absolutely, he joins. There is nothing more important to any of us than our children. I know the school. I volunteer there 3 days a week. I know what it has done for my child, Kyle, and I have complete confidence in what it will do for my son, Bradley. The great thing about choice is having it. I grew up in Gloucester, right downtown. Gloucester is my hometown. Without question, this school is one of the best things that has happened for the city. All of us who know the school best are returning, and 196 students have chosen to attend. We have voted to support this school, and I hope you will hear our votes and do the same. Thank you all and from us and our children.
Thank you for being here and for your comments. Okay, now we're going to hear some comments